India pharma giant Lupin returned to profitability in the second quarter, but that's after a year-ago period was hit by a near 21 billion rupees charge to settle an antitrust class action filed in the US against its drug Glumetza. US sales have bounced back better than expected since that lawsuit. Lupin stock has declined about 25% so far this year. In fact, I have the man behind the business to talk more about the outlook thereof. Ramesh Swaminathan is the Executive Director and Global CFO of Lupin, joining us live from Mumbai. Ramesh, it's good to have you on the show. Thank you very much for your time. Why is the market underappreciating the bounce back in your business?
Well, I'm not so sure about the underappreciation because essentially, people are, at the beginning of the year, we did tell the analysts that the first quarter results would be muted and progressively things would become much better. In the first quarter, as you would know, given the stock situation in the market, we've taken a correction, and that is why the first quarter sales was kind of muted. Things have bounced back since then. So as you correctly noted, American sales are higher, and we expect things to become much better in the third and fourth quarters. We've been keeping costs on quite a leash. That's pretty evident in terms of our SG&A expenses, manpower costs, and the like. I would imagine that the market would be looking at when are we going to come out with the newer products that we are speaking about. And of course, there is the issue relating to some of our facilities. So I guess that's one of the reasons why there's been, it's been a little muted currently, but that would, I guess that is going to be temporary.
Yeah, because year-to-date, the stock is down 25%. Last 6 months, I get your point. There's been some recovery, so it's down minus 2%. But this whole issue with the FDA warning letter for your Tarapur facility, could you elaborate a bit more on that and give us a sense on what the trouble is that the FDA has with this plant and when can matters be resolved?
Yes, yes, we are a little disappointed with, in fact, the overall findings. That's because of the fact that, there were nitrosamine impurities with a few products, and they wanted us to work on that. But that doesn't actually kind of derail anything because, it's business as usual insofar as most of the products are concerned. Some of the products we had already pulled back, and we are working on actually, resolving issues relating to nitrosamine impurities. But the issues around that would be resolved over time for sure. But as of now, it's business as usual insofar as this particular plant is concerned.
It's business as usual, no. But I want to understand, how much does it impact your sales or the exports that are going out of the plant? Because they're calling for a suspension.
No, it's not called for a suspension. I think that's been wrongly reported. What we said was, insofar as the current set of products are concerned, we would certainly continue. Insofar as certain products where nitrosamine impurities were found, we have kind of, put that off. We're not producing those. And we're waiting for newer product, approvals to come through from this plant. And that would obviously, it's really in the hands of the authorities. They might not actually sanction that until the entire observations list is taken off.
Just in terms of that, though, how long does it take if you receive such a warning notice and they've said that you've got impurities? How long does it take for you to fix in terms of ensuring that there isn't any further breaches of what they're expecting? So is there a time frame before you can get that facility sorted out?
This is something which actually the entire industry is kind of encountering. It's not actually unique to us in that sense. It's been the entire industry is actually going through some products where nitrosamine impurities have been found, and we are working on it. I can't set a time frame for it. It could potentially range between 4 months to a year.
Okay, 4 months to a year. So yeah, it's difficult to kind of put a timeline. I want to understand your margin outlook, Ramesh, because you did say that you're keeping a leash on costs. But in an environment where otherwise, and your key market being the US and there being growth pressures there, you're seeing that challenge. What would that mean for margins? Because margins have picked up, but I want to understand whether it's sustainable at these levels and what would be a sustainable operating margin performance?
The margins would really be a function of four things, really. So essentially, the kind of products that you bring to the market. Secondly, in terms of the cost structure, in terms of the manpower costs, in terms of SG&A spends and the like, and of course, the R&D spends. We've been keeping a leash on, in fact, the overall cost situation. In fact, we've been working on a host of initiatives in terms of routes to synthesis, in terms of alternate vendor strategies, etc. When it comes to cost leading to on the direct front. On the indirects, we've been doing a lot of work in terms of productivity increase, laying of people, addressing the footprint insofar as manufacturing goes and the like. All of these are pretty evident in the results. But the most important thing is the fact that we need to actually move the top line. And of course, you've seen some results coming in so far as America is concerned after the stock correction situation, which was the first quarter. We actually are seeing pretty decent growth in almost all geographies. That is India, the emerging markets, Europe, and the like. America, of course, we have got a few products lined up for the rest of the year as well. API sales in a general sense has been cyclical, essentially because of PNG prices from China, and of course the demand for acute therapy products, it says cephalosporin products. That would get addressed over time. So I think whilst the current looks a little muted, you would expect things to certainly perk up in the quarters to come. I did guide for the fact that the second quarter would be better than the first quarter, and the subsequent quarters would be much better, and that's exactly what we stand for.
Yeah, and prior, you had experienced price erosion in previous quarters. Have you addressed that, and how are you standing in terms of your pricing ability, in terms of being able to increase costs while still maintaining your customer satisfaction, in a sense?
So if you look at, in fact, the oral solid dosage business in America, in a general sense, the intensity of competition out there is pretty brutal. There has been price erosion. So it's a single-digit range right now, but it was pretty brutal some time ago. But as you would see, the entire industry is kind of pivoting towards more complex products. And there, I think we are really in the front line in terms of the inhalation products that we have lined up, potentially the biosimilars, and going forward, the injectables, the complex injectables, and the like. So the medium term certainly is pretty, it's pretty alluring from our perspective. And whilst the OSD business is, needs addressal, or the competition could certainly be brutal, I would expect, in fact, some succor from the other parts of, the business.
Right. What about the drug pricing policy in the U.S.? And given the kind of, changes that we are expected to see in the House, given the midterm elections, what sort of implications does that have for your business at the back end? Because obviously, if there's any sort of change in the final product pricing, that would filter through supply chains.
Yeah, you're right. But as you would also recognize, we are in the business of affordable medicine. A lot of these changes that you're speaking about would certainly impact a lot more on ethical business. Generic pricing is indeed, as it is, pretty, it's as low as it can get. More driven by competition and the number of players that are working in the American market. So I would think there would be a fair bit of, it could be the same situation as it is currently. Things wouldn't really worsen from that perspective when it comes to oral solid dosages. And insofar as certain therapy areas like, as I said, inhalations and the more complex ones, anything which actually involves a drug-device combination, I think there is room for for growth as well as for level of profits.
Ramesh, lovely to have you in the show, and thank you very much for sharing your business plans with us. Okay, time now to